hold the fate of a single man in your hands. You will follow his life from birth to death. Your choices shall define who Sir Brante will grow up to be. You will decide his personality, social status, and what mark he will leave on history. With each step he takes at your behest, Sir Brante's character will change and evolve. Your decisions will close some doors for him, but open many others. The world of Sir Brante's birth is a ruthless realm where people are divided into estates. It is hard to be a hero here. Be ready to accept that Sir Brante cannot overcome every challenge in his path. Every hard choice will test his character and personal qualities. Often you will not be able to make the choice you would like to. It may happen because you choose a different road earlier, exhausted your hero's willpower, or haven't earned the right position in society. Every victory will be a struggle, a path paved with bitter losses and gut-wrenching failures. Accept the tragedy. This is how you create a gripping and unique tale for your hero. What will become of your Sir Brante, his loved one, and the world? It all depends on you. Let's see how this game is. Your fingers are stained with ink, your breathing grows ragged, your hands are shaking, yet the words begin appearing on the page before you one by one, clinging together to form a chronicle of your life. Who are you and how did you reach this end? You were born, raised and lived your entire life in the blessed Archnean Empire. In this land, a man's destiny is predetermined at the moment of his birth. Whether human or Archnean, nobleman, priest or low-born commoner, all bend to the divine will of the twin gods, and each life is naught but a single cog in the universe's immeasurable machine. The memories come flooding back. They engulf you as a merciless wave, binding together days that are thrice dead and gone. The dreams of your childhood, your adolescence, your youth spent in the capital, years of peace, teeming with life and a war drenched in blood. High ranks and lowly deeds, opulent palaces, secretive city backstreets, fields of battle and faces. So many faces of the people you held dear, the people who walked this road by your side. Such was your life, now all exposed by ink erupting onto the page. With every step you sought to change the world as you saw fit. The choices of your upbringing, the path you carved in your youth, the fruits of your struggle, the consequences of your sacrifice, all of it led you here, to the end of your time, and every choice had a price. Now, years and years later, the crossroad of your life echo in your memory, the pain, the joy inextricably intermingled. Could you have taken a different path? Could you have chosen a different calling, found a different place in the world? You had the power to alter the very course of history. Now on the verge of death, you struggle with doubt, seeking answers to the last and most crucial questions of your life. Your life. Of all the paths in life, why did you walk this one? Did you choose your own fate, or was this life shaped by forces beyond your control? What determines a man's destiny? The man himself, or a higher power, or the world around him. You can hear death's footsteps drawing near. You square your shoulders and take a deep, full breath. You have found your final answer. What is destiny other than a long chain of your own actions and decisions? No matter what happens in your life, you always had a choice. You lived the life you deserved, only you can answer for it. But are you right about this? Is it all true? To learn the truth, you will have to return to the very beginning. Remembering every step you took along the way. On these pages, the story of a man named Siegfried Brante will live once more. Chapter 1, Childhood. Childhood, where life begins. First words, first unsteady steps. You are but a small child learning about the world in which you were born. To you, everything is so new, so baffling and so unforgiving. A long trying life stretches before you, so many feats and faults, so many fateful choices to come, yet you are already sowing the seeds of your future self. You are learning to live and survive in this world, looking for a place within it to call your own, choosing your future destiny. Who will you grow up to be? In chapters childhood and adolescence and youth, you will live through your hero's coming of age. You will shape the protagonist's personality, his qualities and his relationships. By the end of the prologue, you will determine the estate, the future occupation of your hero. Only in adulthood will he start to influence the world around him and even the ultimate fate of the empire. Who will Siegfried Brante grow up to be? It's your call. The reason I called him Siegfried was the character Nightmare from Soul Calibur. Childhood, where life begins. First words, first unsteady steps. You are but a small child learning about the world around you for the first time, yet it's also here where you sow the seeds of your future self. Who will you grow to be? Events in the personal life of the hero that can happen in this chapter. The fencing lessons. You dare to study fencing like your father, even though you have no right to it by birth. Beyond. As a small child, you suffer your first death and rebirth. You experience an insight when your mother tells you about the ways of the world and the lots of its inhabitants. You challenge the sacred order and attempt to seize a noble plot. Your personal qualities at this age, they determine your choices you may take. Determination 0, perception 0, willpower 0, depth 0. Your inner strength and the number of your lesser deaths that you have experienced, these qualities will stay with you for your entire life. The sections are open in this chapter: destiny, personality, House of Brante, family. At first there was nothing, no time, no sensation, nothing but darkness and void. But then a will breathed life into nothingness. Matter and spirit were set in motion. History began its march. It was your turn to enter this world. Your first memory, you are lying on your back, blinded by a bright white light. You are not alone. Above you tower the colossal figures of those who created you. You are a part of them, and they are a part of you. Between you and them is an inexplicable connection, a strong, unbreakable link. They will always watch over you, guard you, and protect you. It hurts to breathe. You let out the pain in your form in a desperate scream. Your creators extend their hands towards you. There are two of them, the ones who made your form from their own selves and brought you into the world. They are united, yet as they lean closer, you begin to see how different they are. You can already feel the differences within you, struggling against each other. They're the two hands. The first figure is soft and empathetic, wise and merciful. The love that emanates from it wraps you head to toe like an invisible blanket. The warmth from it is never ending. The second figure is strong and powerful, commanding and noble. It is harsh but fair, a beacon of guidance, a force of protection and merciless punishment for every misdeed. Yet there is also a third figure. It is like a shadow, barely seen behind them, yet already pulsing with an unbreakable will to live. It is the very will to live that is now growing even stronger within you. A soft open palm, a strong closed fist, a lingering distant shadow. You struggle to loosen the swaddling clothes wrapped around you and extend a tiny hand into the world. Your little palm awkwardly clasps the soft finger. You explore your mother's hands by touch. She smiles gently as her arms wrap around you and lift up. She smiles of home, the indescribable smell, the feeling of safety that is second to none. Her embrace is the warmest place in the world, a place you want to stay for all eternity. who just gained 1%. Were born in the year 1118. Your life in the world begins. How will you live? One years old now. Just lived half our life. Hide and seek. As the days go by, you learn to tell your parents apart. You recognize your father by his heavy breath, strong cold hands. He visits you rarely. Hello there, little Siegfried Brante. Mother's tender voice, however, follows you. And now, you're growing up so quickly, my child. Lydia Brown. There are 2 more children in the family named Stefan and Gloria. Gloria sings songs to you. She often dresses you in tight clothing and gently holds your hands as you learn to take your first steps. Stefan likes to sweep you up and pinch you and toss you into the air. Oh look, this is your brother and sister. Yeah, you're my little brother, we're gonna play together, but I'll always be in charge because you were born a common. Be quiet, you. He doesn't understand yet. Come on, baby Siegfried, let's go and play in the yard. It's hot outside. You grip your brother's hand with one hand and your sister's with another as they help you walk down the giant stone stairs. Then you sit on the ground and start exploring the sparse blades of grass with your fingers. It tickles. In the sky far above and away from you is a gigantic pillar, a perfectly straight stick made of light. It is so bright it hurts to look at it. Why are you staring at the shining pillar? It's not going anywhere. Hey, I want to play hide and seek. He's just a little baby. How's you? Then you hide and I'll try to find both of them. You have no idea what they're talking about, but you support them with happy cooing. This is strange but so exciting. Stefan and Gloria glance at each other. Then your brother walks to a big tree, closes his eyes and starts shouting something. Gloria takes your hand and walks you through the yard. Your sister takes you behind some thick bushes by a tall wall. The light from the light stick on the horizon barely reaches her. You can't see home from this place. The ground is crawling with tiny black bugs. Gloria sits you down on the ground and puts a finger to her mouth for some reason, and then she's gone. You can no longer hear Stefan's voice. Gloria is nowhere to be seen. You feel colder. The bugs are no fun to play with. You've been sitting here for a long time, completely alone. Nobody checks on you. Did they forget about you? Did they abandon you? I guess the best thing to do is just sit there and wait, but they said we've been alone for a long time, but we'll just sit there and wait. The bush is covered with leaves swaying in the wind. You brush through them with your fingers. The twigs and branches are stiff and will not bend. They are different from the blades of grass. Down on the ground you see a group of bugs carrying a little twig. You grab it from one of them. They're so funny. One of the bugs crawls on your finger and bites it, just enough to sting a little. You hear brisk steps and then the leaves and twigs rustling and parting. Your mother leans over you. You greet her with a happy face and show her the finger with the bug on it. So, that's where they took. Mother picks you up, puts you on her chest and pats you on the head. Your brother and sister stand behind her, clearly feeling guilty. Gloria is in tears. Stefan keeps staring at his feet. You hug your mother tightly. She's here now. Another perception represents how attentive you are to other people in the world around you, your ability to comprehend and learn. It affects your frame of mind and the skills you have when you grow up. We are now 2 years old. When we were 1 and we turned to 2, that's 50% of our life right there. The Great Descent. Another memory. You are still a little child, but you can already talk and run around on your own. Today is out of the ordinary. Father is busy around the house giving orders to the servants. Throughout the day, the kitchen has been abuzz with work. There are solemn, gloomy preparations and candles being lit. Even your older brother, Stefan, is quiet today. Mother takes your hand and brings you to your sister Gloria. My son, today is the Great Descent. We honor the day the twin gods have descended to us. We must spend this day in reverence to the gods. You are too young to understand, so just do everything your sister says for now. Gloria takes you to the playroom. There are no toys there, no chairs, even the carpet has been taken away. There's nothing but a bare wooden. Today we're not allowed to go in any other rooms or we'll be eating nothing but gruel and stale bread. On the day of the Great Descent, everyone must be where they belong. It is quiet, unusually so. Muffled voices from beyond the door are all you can hear. You are sitting on the cold floor, confused, with no idea what to do. Then you hear your sister's voice, a lonely sound in the empty room. It is a little song that your mother taught her. You hold your breath as you listen to it. When the twins came down to earth, they bought lots for every birth. Let us count them 1, 2, 3. The twins made them for you and me. Noble rules and bravely fight. They protect us with their might. Priests work hard to understand, guide us by the twins' commands. Common people work and toil, always patient, never spoiled. Live your lot where you were born to the day where you pass on. Know your lot and know the prayer for the twins see everywhere. You are transfixed by the tune. Gloria noticed your gaze and a smile creeps across her face. You like the rhyme, don't you, Siegfried? Do you know what it's about? Okay, Gloria is the illegitimate daughter of your mother Lydia. She has never met her real father. Her position in the family is precarious. Robert Brante has never acknowledged her as his own daughter. Your sister is a dreamer. She often has her heads in the cloud and can act recklessly at times. Look, there are 3 lots. They were brought to us by the twins when they descended to us from the shining pillar. Remember that pillar of light from the horizon? That's it. You can see the shining pillar anytime from anywhere in the world. If you follow your lot as you live, you'll reach the peak of the pillar, and if you don't, you get eternal torment at the foot. You and I are lowborn. Mom is a commoner too, so the lot for you and me is to suffer and be patient and work hard. Understand? The priests and the nobles have other lots. The nobles fight and rule over everybody. The priests, well, I'm not really sure what they do, but I guess they talk to the twins and they teach everybody. Gloria stares at you intently. Did you get it, silly? Then she shakes her head and keeps singing the song over and over again. Her voice transfixes you, drawing you in. The room starts to glow like the sky. From this light emerge 2 figures you have known ever since your moment of birth. One of them embraces your sister's shoulder. The other stands guard behind her back. You watch this happening before your very eyes, unable to turn away. Gloria is swaying to the song, unaware of what is happening. She sings the final verses once more. Know your lot and know your prayer. You feel compelled by this divine sight to express yourself somehow. You feel the words condensing with you from the light, but what will these words be? Know your lot and know your prayer. For the twins see everything. You sing the last line together with Gloria. Your sister looks up at you, surprised and gives you a nod. The shining pair standing behind her back turn to you. You can feel their gaze piercing you from top to bottom. When the moment passes, they melt into the dim light coming from the window. Gloria turns her head to look out where you were standing. Did you see something? You shake your head, not anymore. +1 perception. Three years. Year 1121, spring, the origin. You are starting to understand more and more of what the adults say. Your family is an unusual one. Your father is a nobleman, but not by birth. He is a title earned through great service, but your mother is a low-born woman, a commoner. Because of this, you were born a commoner, but father says you may yet come unto nobility. You learn to read at an early age. Together with mother, you read and learn the heart of many poems about the divine twins, the twin gods who reside upon the shining pillar. Mother calls these poems prayers. Again and again, you try to discern the shapes of the gods in the triple holy light that shines in the sky. All the light is binding to gaze. The greatest joy of all is when the stairs are no longer insurmountable obstacle. Now you can climb and even jump from step to step. Father urges you to be more careful and avoid climbing too high, but even though you keep falling, you never stop being curious about the world around you. Your older brother Stefan now spends less and less time playing with Gloria, and you playing with commoners is beneath a nobleman to be, he says. So Gloria calls him names and Stefan pulls a pig. One fine evening, father gathers you all in the sitting room with an announcement. You will have another little brother or sister soon. Gloria asks him to bring home a little sister. Another brother would be too much. Stefan gets frustrated. There are too many little siblings getting in his way as it is. Soon you will be an older brother too, and it doesn't really matter who the youngest will be, a boy or girl, you love them the most. When your father comes back from his trips, he reads his adult book aloud for you. You find these stories of wars, general and rebellions quite enchanting. Your father approves of your satisfaction. Study hard and maybe one day you become a noble of the mantle and earn your sword, but first you need to grow up. Growing up, the concept is as terrifying as it is alluring. The lot of suffering. You keep staring at the carpet under your feet. You are both ashamed and proud, and it feels odd. A scratch on your hand stings you a little. Stefan is standing next to you, sniffling from pain. Your brother was training in the yard with a wooden sword. You wanted to play with him, but he ended up getting angry and throwing the sword at you. The stick hit you in the shoulder. You picked it up. And hit him with. You keep staring at the carpet under your feet. You are both ashamed and proud of it. It feels odd. A scratch on your hand stings a little. Stefan is standing next to you, sniffling from. Your brother was training in the yard with a wooden sword. You wanted to play with him, but he ended up getting angry and throwing the sword at you. The stick hit you in the shoulder. You picked it up and hit him with it. You see mother's shoes walking to and fro the carpet. You do not want to look up. You would rather not see her angry. She is not as gentle to you these. Why did you hurt Stefan secretly? You stammer out an expression. He hit you first. You just hit. How dare he pester me like that? When I grow up, I'm gonna hit him with a real sword. Mother shushes you both and speaks to you again. Her voice is stern, and yet you can feel her concern. Even if Stefan hits you, you cannot hit him back. You are my son, and I was born a commoner. Our lot is to suffer, but your brother was born from a noble father and a noble mother. His sacrament is coming soon, and then he will rule over the likes of us. If you hurt a noble, you must be punished. This is your lot, and the sooner you learn it, the better for your entire family. Now Stefan looks at you in triumph. You look up at Mother in fear, not sure what to do. We accept our punishment. You look down and agree with what she just said. You are ready to be punished. You start apologizing to Stefan, but he turns his back on you. Before you can finish, Mother takes your hands and leads you away. You do not want to follow her. Your hands are getting sweaty and your legs are growing heavy. Then suddenly she stops, bends down close to you, looks you straight in your eyes. My son, I see you understand our lot now. We do not defy, we suffer. That is our only path to the twins after all our deaths. Our only way to reach eternal bliss atop the peak of the pillar. Our virtue is meekness. We are humble in our word. We work hard. We think what is right. You have shown all of this. I'm so proud of you. She hugs you and you finally release pent-up tears. You feel so much more at ease. You are flogged in front of your entire family. The pain burns on your skin again, but you feel the touch of the divine law with each blow. Robert Brante is son from his first marriage and a noble by birth. From a young age he has a striving to be first in all things and demonstrate his superiority to the family. You are flogged in front. Okay, we've already done that. Stephen's grateful. Oh, my mother's grateful. Mother mostly stays in the chambers now. With each passing day she grows heavier and her features get rounder. It gets difficult for her to walk, but she still smiles all the time. One day she takes your hand and puts them on her big belly and you feel movement deep inside her. You will have another brother or sister soon. Gloria takes you on walks in the yard now. You explore the yard together under the evening of the light pillar, and she brings you to sing she sings you songs and tells you amazing stories. Hey Siegfried, do you want to hear a rhyme? I wrote it myself. There's even a bit about you, but don't tell anyone, okay? Writing poems and songs is only for nobles. If Mummy hears about it, I'll get flogged. Remember how you got flogged for hitting Stefan? Our judgment is my second father. In the past I had another. My mother says the twins are great, says we should not fight our fate. Brother loves to jump around. Please don't fall down on the ground. See, I wrote a little rhyme. Please don't tell them it is mine. But today your sister is nowhere to be seen. She promised to take you to an old pond and shows you the red frogs that lives there, but then she vanished. The servants join you in your search. Even Mother leaves the chambers and when she hears the commotion. Finally you find Gloria in the far corner of the garden. She is holding quill and the sheets of paper covered in poetry. She's holding a quilt and sheets of paper covered in poetry. Mother becomes angry the moment she sees it. She looks through the poetry and her face grows dark with rage. Gloria is standing before her, wringing her hands and looking for an opportunity to run, but there seems to be no escape. What is this nonsense, Gloria? We talked about this. You were told to take care of your little brother. You're absolutely not allowed to entertain yourself with this writing. I can decide that for myself, Mom. No, you cannot. It has already been decided by the gods. And he's not a little brother anymore. He doesn't need a nanny, and I need some time alone to think for myself. I'm not hurting anyone. You are a commoner and a future wife. It's time that you learn how to properly care for children. Had your disgraceful former father kept me in his house, you could have been born a noble, but that is not our fate, and you are absolutely forbidden from ever spoiling paper and wasting ink again. Mother grabs Gloria firmly by the hand and takes you both to the house. The scribbled sheets fly into the fireplace. Gloria sobs violently. You are bastard into the scene, unsure how to act. Mother leaves. The last of your sister's poetry burns away in the fireplace. You hug your sister and whisper to her, "Let's go to the library," you say. "The two of us can hide under the table and write something together." Gloria shakes her head violently. Mother said no, there's no way she would have had you reassure that will be your secret. You pull Gloria to the library. She fights you, but you refuse to relent. You carefully peek inside. Your sister takes a small book from one of the shelves and you read it together under the table. It's a book of poetry about eternal love. Gloria clearly adores it. You decide to write a poem of your own. She recites a line in an ecstatic voice, and you repeat after her and offer a rhyme of your own. She nods happily. You do this until the day ends. You have written a poem by your own and learned it by the heart, but not a single line of it has been committed to paper, which means you have stayed true to your mother's rule. Perception, inquisitive. Four years old now. Mother is in an armchair knitting woolen jackets, pants and socks for the little one. The baby will need to be kept warm, she says. Father spends less time at home now. Mother says he's very busy with his important job. He is a judge after all. One day you decide to ask Mother about Stefan and Gloria. How come they're brother and sister to you but not siblings to each other? Well, my dear, I didn't give birth to Stefan, you see. He's the son of another mother, and Gloria is the daughter of another father. Come now, don't knit your brow like that. You understand when you're older. How is that even possible? You're all family, are you not? Several days later, Mother calls Stefan and Gloria to the sitting room. You sneak in after them. At first, Mother gets angry and asks you to leave, but then she relents. You are told to sit still, be quiet, and remember every word you hear. When you enter the temple, bow to the twins, first to the elder on the right, and then to the younger on the left. Stefan, you're a nobleman to be, so walk along the side paved with marble where the benches are. Gloria, you walk along the sharp side. When you are there, you must get down on your knees, each on your own side. Stefan kissed the sword. Gloria, my daughter, then will strike you with the lash. Don't be afraid of it. Resign yourself to the suffering it brings. It is the blessing of your lot. Gloria doesn't like the idea of the lash. There's a tense feeling in your chest as well. You were told to remember this with the lash strap. You too. On the next day, they take your brother and sister to the temple. You run towards them when they finally come back. The back of Gloria's dress is soaked with blood. She's hunched a bit, sobbing quietly. Stefan is putting on airs, acting prouder than ever. Nothing else looks different about them. It's all the same, and yet everything has changed. Each one of them has accepted their lot. I don't know how my relation got -1. Unity -1. Your siblings Stefan and Gloria took to the first sacrament at the temple. You eyed the little bundle in your father's arms with curiosity. Behind the many layers of swaddling clothes is your newborn baby brother. Mother is glowing and smiling with joy. Stefan and Gloria are also excited. You promise yourself you're going to be the best big brother in the world. You will never hit him. Oh no, the two of you will play together and tease Stefan together and help mother together and go on so many adventures together. It feels so strange to be an older brother. Just the other day you were the youngest in the family now, but everything is different now. Your parents name your little brother Nathan, and your mother spends day and night by his side. Nathan Diaz! And Nathan cries all the time day and night. Mother barely gets any sleep. She's so worn out she starts forgetting things. Like today for instance, she forgot her knitting in the armchair in the sitting room. You better bring it to her as soon as possible. You run to mother's bedroom. You miss her smile so much. You walk in without saying hello and give her the knitting, but instead of gratitude you get an ice cold exhausted stare. Nathan is also there, screaming all the time. Go away, Siegfried, you're bothering me. She spits these words out through her teeth. You look at the bawling newborn. She can't even get a minute of respite. Enough already. When are you going to stop? I just want some peace and quiet. Mother leaps across the room and starts shaking Nathan with malice in her eyes. His cries are getting even louder. She looks so tired from his never-ending scream. She seems to be within an inch of smashing him against the wall. Somebody has to do something. You're scared of your mother right now, but you fear for Nathan's life much more. I can either call father for help, redirect her anger to yourself, or hug mother. Hug or redirect the anger. Hug or redirect the anger. This is a tough. We run with hug. You walk up to mother quickly and lock her tightly in an embrace. Your arms are too short and the folds of her dress get in the way, but that doesn't stop you. She shudders at your unexpected touch and tries to free her. Let me go, stop tormenting. But you only latch onto her even tighter. There's no way you're letting her go now. Not even if she screams at you and hits you. No way, you are her now. You protect and comfort her. Nathan stops screaming. There's an odd sobbing sound escapes his little baby mouth as if he tried to scream. Mother accepts your sudden presence now. You relax. You feel her relax and her movements become calmer. But there's still no way you're letting go. Not yet. Then you hear a quiet song your mother sang. She is singing a lullaby to Nathan. He squeaks a little and starts snoring quietly. Then you calm down as well. Mother is now calmer in your embrace. Nathan is breathing quietly in his sleep. Now please let me go, my dear. I have to put Nathan to bed. You release mother and she puts Nathan back in the crib. After a little pause she turns to you. Her face is still worried but there's no sign of anger. She sits down next to you. Thank you, my son. The twins know I didn't want to hurt you or Nathan. I'm so sorry. Please don't be angry with me. You did what you needed to. You gave me the strength to work through this. She hugs you tightly. You do the same and you press your forehead against her. She smells like home. Your tears finally start to flow, but they are tears of happiness now. She pats you on the head and kisses your forehead. Nathan is sleeping quietly in his crib. It feels so good when things are as they should be. +1 relationship. A humble commoner from the outskirts of Anizot. Neither her lowly origins nor the fact that your grandfather directly forbade the marriage stopped your father from taking her into his home. She now manages the household and raises Robert's children. Your mother is devoted to her faith and insists that her children observe their lots. Unity. Nothing else happened that year. 5 years old. Siegfried. The event. The ant farm. The event is a consequence of your previous actions. Conditions met. Perception 4. The ant farm. Your younger brother Nathan is growing. Mother spends more time with the rest of your family now. You help her and play with your brother and take care of him when she asks. You often go to your mother's room to sit at the foot of her bed after Nathan falls asleep. She reads you the sacred books and you ask her about the things you learned that day. During these moments you see the world through her eyes as well. One day the door of your room opens and she brings in a large box covered with a piece of cloth. It is rare for you to see her so overjoyed. She sets the box on the floor and removes the cloth. The under the cloth is made of glass and has a wooden base. Inside you see a layer of earth shaped into carefully crafted passages, and these passages are full of hard-working ants. Siegfried, this is my gift to you, an ant farm. It's a little world in a small box. We can watch them through the glass. Look, this is the queen ant. She is the reason all these little ants were born. You sit by the box together. You hold your breath as you watch the ant colony at work. There turns out to be a method to the ants' chaotic movements. Every single one of them has a task to perform. Some of them have larger mandibles. They are the protectors of the colony. They can draw blood from your finger. Others work all around the colony, repairing the walls and clearing any debris from the passages. There are also workers who collect food and put in a special tray leaves, bits of meat, maggots, and bring it to the rest of the colony. You take the worker ant and put it right next to the food. However, the insect has no interest in it. It starts circling around the tray aimlessly. Mother takes the tray and puts it back where it belongs. Why did you do that, my son? The ants cannot do what they weren't born to do. Each of them was born for their own job. You shake your head slowly. It only means the ants could do whatever they wanted them to. If only the ants could do whatever you wanted them to. This is your gift now, so they belong to you. Or maybe Mother's presence is the reason they won't obey you. Mother's look is full of warmth and love. Nathan, Gloria and Father are away right now. For the first time in a long while, it's just the two of you. And Mother takes great joy in watching over the ant farm. She shares her knowledge of the world with you. The things she tells you are true. You move closer to her and suggest going outside and finding some bugs for the ants. She agrees to do this happily and holds your hand as you leave the house. Soon you are very busy catching bugs and sharing your thoughts on how the ants will feed the colony with them. From time to time you laugh together, making up stories about errant flies and caterpillars overthrowing the ant kingdom. You and your mother hold hands as you return to your room. She can't help but smile. It is a faint smile, a child's smile, a smile full of sunlight. You are so happy to have seen the world through her eyes today. You and Mother hold hands as you return to your room. She can't help but smile. It is a faint smile, a child's smile, a smile full of sunlight. You are so happy to have seen the world through her eyes today. Relations plus willpower plus. Toy soldiers. You wake up to your father's touch on your shoulder. He is finally back home after a long. A nobleman of the mantle and a judge of the Anizot prefecture. Following in the footsteps of his father Gregor, he earned a noble title and a position at the prefecture. He works tirelessly in his judicial service for the sake of his family. He took your low-born mother Lydia as his second wife, thereby jeopardizing the family's noble future. Siegfried, today is your special day, the day where you begin your studies. Now teachers will be coming to our home to teach you, and you must do everything they say. Be diligent in your studies, and you will grow closer to the nobleman's lot. And since you must remember this day, a present is in order. Lydia, get a little schoolboy dressed. I am taking him to the market district. Stefan wants to come with you too, but father shushes him sternly. This is your day. Your elder brother is hurt to hear this, but stays quiet. An open carriage takes the two of you throughout the dusty, noisy city gates. A pleasant wind tussling your hair. Your city is called Anizot. That you already know. It is one of the largest cities in the entire empire. There's a big shadow on the street. It comes from the white foliage of an enormous tree that spreads its branches all above the city. My son, did you know that the silver tree grew from the blood of our God's own disciples? It has been grown here for hundreds of years, right in our city. It cannot be damaged or burned. Not even the clergy know why. The carriage comes to a halt by a small shop next to the city square. You run there and freeze by the stalls in excitement. The shop is packed with dolls and figurines and toys. You've never seen so much. You've never seen so many at once before. Have you chosen your present yet? Father asks. You have. Or you want the Holy Order set, which includes several figurines of the Empire's greatest warriors of all time. You write off everything you know about the Holy Order. They were the ones who aided the Emperor's own forces in seizing the province of Magra and storming our city. That's how we joined the Empire. Father nods in approval. Very well, war isn't your lot for now, but maybe these toy soldiers will teach you to think like a general. We will lead them into battle and study military strategy. Go ahead, take your present. Having said this, Father turns away to examine the books. You run into the box of toy soldiers, delirious with excitement. But there's a fancy dressed boy in your way. He's about to take your warriors for himself. He elbows you aside and reaches for the box. Anger comes over you. You want to push him from behind. And you push him from behind, your opponent falls to the floor. The rich boy screams so loudly, everybody in the shop hears it. He hit me. A tall tower of a man looms over you. This is the boy's father. But then you feel your own father's hands on your shoulders. What happened? You pressed against your father. Your mind more at ease now. He will protect you. Yes, you shoved the boy on the floor in front of everyone, but he tried to take your present for himself. Father turns around to face him when he hears these words. Is this true, Siegfried? Did you strike the son of a nobleman? You recall your mother's words. If you hurt a noble, you must be punished. There's no use trying to lie to escape it. You say it was your fault. You pushed the other boy to the floor because you wanted to get your presents before him. Father nods to you, relieved to hear it, and the arranged nobleman grabs you by the hands and drags you out to the street. The law is the law, and your punishment is due. They lead you and the nobleman's son out of the shop. You are told to bow to him and show humility. A bad feeling sends a shiver down your spine. With a satisfied grin on his face, the boy swings his arm and slaps you across the cheek. He strikes you again and again. Father stays quiet all the time, but as you ride home after the punishment is over, he shows you a rectangular pack. I'm so proud to see you living by your lot. The common birth leads to a common life of humility. And you told the truth and you accepted your punishment like a man. The present is yours, my son. Inside the little box with the tin soldiers of the holy orders inside, they are your reward for humility. Robert Brante, relationship +1, sympathy. Exhausted the willpower. Six-year-old Siegfried Brante. Today, Father ordered the dinner table to be brought out to the yard. For the first time in months, he's home, outside of the confines of his always locked study. He spent his entire day planning with Nathan and you, discussing various matters with Stefan, now an adolescent, and walking in the garden, and now a dinner under the open sky. Your entire family gathers together, with Father at the head of the table, smiling. He asks each of you about your studies. Nathan climbs up on his knee and recites a counting rhyme in a funny sing-song voice. Stefan mentions that his fencing teacher praised his accomplishments. He rises from the table together with Father to show his skills in a practice tool. Next comes Gloria's turn. She stands on a chair and recites a lengthy prayer by heart. Mother showers your sister with praise. Father chuckles quietly, hiding a smile in his moustache. When your turn comes, you recite all the ranks of the Legion, from common soldier to high commander. Stefan listens to you with a skeptical look on his face. Night slowly falls, but the servants ensure that the yard is well illuminated. You don't feel cold in the dusk tonight. It feels good, yet so important. All of you finally together, sitting at the same table. No fighting, just smiles. No arguing, just pleasant small talk. Then a servant approaches Father with a letter in his hand. I feel like this letter is gonna change the whole story. He read it in the dim light, and each line gradually washes the smile off Father's face until a stone-cold mask remains. Mother looks at Father with unspoken question in her eyes. Gregor Brante is coming back to Anizot. He's the head of our family, my father. Grandfather's return. Your grandfather, Gregor Brante, has returned to the family home from the capital. The intrusion. Ever since the news of your grandfather's impending arrival, there has not been a single day when the house has not been cleaned or decorated. Your parents anxiously make sure everything is in order. They tell you to wash your face and hands after walks and scold you for leaving books on the floor. They tell Gloria she will be flogged if she's ever seen hiding in the attic. They make Stefan stay... Sorry about that. They make Stefan stay in his room. Even baby Nathan gets in trouble. Everyone is on edge. Their one day grandfather arrives is a grim day, so hot your neck is sticky with sweat. Father, mother, Stefan, Gloria, Stephen or Stefan, Gloria, you and Nathan, the entire Brante family stands on the porch in front of the house. The house servants lined up behind you. The carriage arrives and out steps a tall, gaunt old man with a heavy walking stick and a heavier gaze. You cringe instinctively. Okay, a nobleman of the mantle and a judge of the Anizot. Oh, this is my father, Robert. Good health to you, father. Children, greet your grandfather as you have been taught. The head of the Brante family and nobleman of the mantle, a senior judge at the Anizot prefecture. He was the first person in the family to get an education and achieve a noble title. His dream is to see the family ennobled by the sword, a cruel and a fierce defender of the ancient order. He is constantly preoccupied with arranging the future of his family line. Relationship is -1, just because we're not noble, and indifference. Still trying to look like a real nobleman, are you? You can't fool me, Robert. I was the first of the Brante family to be ennobled by the mantle, and I am the only one who remembers how to burden. Sorry about that. I had to bear this burden properly. I live honorably by my lot. Your marriage to that low-born wench cut us off from ever becoming nobles of the sword. My progeny could have been born bearing noble blood. Father, I beg of you, this is not the place. Grandfather eyes him with scorn and walks into the house, an entire family following close behind him. I've been far away for too long, the entire house is a mess. This is an insult. How can you live in such pigsty, Robert? The servants have grown far too lazy, all thanks to your commoner of a wife. I warned you, did I not? And yet you did as you saw fit, and the children, what do they know of tradition or honor? They are being raised in a virtuous family. And now you're speaking like a lowborn who's content to live in humility, twins willing. Now that I am here, this will not happen again. I am taking your oldest son to the capital. I see you cannot provide Stefan with a proper education, so I will correct your mistake. Your brother's fate has been decided just like that. Father does not object. He orders the servants to prepare Stefan for his journey. Stefan freezes in place, glancing at grandfather and father again and again. The latter puts a hand on his shoulder reassuringly. So his father. Grandfather's lips are a tight line white with contempt. The house is examined room after room. Everything grandfather sees is showered with scorn. He scoffs at his crease on a blanket in Nathan's crib in mother's bedroom. He mocks Gloria's knitting in her room. The door to your room is next. What is this, Robert? Tin soldiers in your youngest son's room? He was born a commoner. I won't have him daydreaming of battle. Grandfather seizes the box containing the tin warriors of the Holy Order. Your father stays silent. Anger and fear boil within you. This is your big present from your first day of your studies. It means so much to you. But what if he's right? What if you do need to prove your right to command the toy? What if you need to prove your right to command the toy soldiers first? Grandfather shakes his head in disapproval and shoves the toy box into a roaring fireplace. If you wait too long, they will melt in the flames. So I can strike grandfather, which is not good at all. I wouldn't do that. I can burst into tears and lose respect in my grandfather's eyes and willpower, or watch them melt helplessly, which gives me 1 perception, 5 willpower, which I have 0 right. I have -5 right now, so I'm going to watch them helplessly. The wood crackles, the tin melts. The unpleasant smell of burning paint fills the room. Father grimly orders the servants to douse the fire and clean the mess that was your birthday present just a few moments ago. You watch the servants at work with a strange fascination, experiencing an odd feeling of freedom. It all seems right now. It's time for you to grow up. Grandfather leaves to examine the other rooms of the house. I think he's only like 6 or 7. So yeah, +5 willpower and +1 perception. Very inquisitive young boy. Soon grandfather leaves. Your elder brother Stefan goes with him. From that day on, father's hired teachers tend to you alone. They bore you with monotonous lectures on writing, counting, and the way of life in the blessed Archnean Empire. You often distract yourself from their instruction by playing with your younger brother Nathan, Fall, the master of the house. Your home grows quiet, without your elder brother, too quiet. Weeks later, your family receives a letter from Stefan. Grandfather has sent him to a boarding school for nobles, and he's now studying hard in preparation for his service as a nobleman. The rules here are way too strict. You can't even sneeze without teacher's permission. But I've been studying with my peers. We're learning how to live as nobles in a noble society. We're also learning the art of swordplay. That's my favorite part. With Stefan now at the boarding school, grandfather arrives once more, this time to live in your home. The only good thing is that he often has urgent business in Eterna, the capital of the empire, and has to travel there. One day you ask your mother where he lived before, in Eterna, she says, but now his place is here. Each time grandfather returns, he gives the servants new orders. Your home is now always busy with repairs. The servants are redecorating grandfather's chambers, including his library and sitting room. Grandfather seems like a real knobhead. Sometimes father tries to gently talk him out of this. Why subject the house to a constant reconstruction? Grandfather's answer is always the same. The home is mine, and I will live here as befits a man of the nobility. An illustrious guest. Some days grandfather stays home, and on those days you try your best to stay out of his sight, but there is no way you can avoid family breakfast. The food is there, but you cannot simply bring yourself to eat it. Mother's eyes are red and swollen. She's been crying all night. Grandfather sits at the head of the table where nobody used to sit before. Robert, it is high time your youngest sons underwent their sacrament. Sir Brante, please let them live free for a while longer. Shut your mouth, Robert. That wife of yours is impertinent enough to interrupt me. If this ever happens again, she'll be eating her gruel with the servants in the kitchen where she belongs. It is time you considered a real marriage, Robert, one to a woman of proper station. I just want to check something out. How old am I right? I'm only 6 and he wants me out the house. My personality, 6 years, low-born, growing up, deafs, untouched by death, which is great. Perception 5, determination 0, spineless. Willpower ready for action. House of Brante, reputation 3, tarnished honor, wealth, moderate means, unity 7, peace. Stefan Brante. So, here's me. Here's my sister, my brother, and the ex-wife. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, let's get back to work. Shut your mouth, Robert. That wife is impertinent enough to interrupt me. If this ever happens again, she'll be eating her gruel with the servants in the kitchen where she belongs. It is time you considered a real marriage, Robert, one to a woman of proper station. Gloria drops her fork. Grandfather shoots her a scathing look. A tear rolls down mother's cheek. Father does not look away from the plate. His hands are clenched into his fists. Baroness Aloda is one such woman. She's a comely widow with a fine match. She is suing for her inheritance right now and could use proper support and a husband. You can keep your lowborn Lydia around if you like, servant, mistress, I don't care. I will not do that, father. I am the head of this family, and the family's standing took a severe blow after you married that commoner. It is unthinkable. How could you give up the memory of the beautiful Amalia Elbon for this lowly woman and that bastard child of hers? But now you have a chance to set things right. Don't disappoint me. Father nods curtly, trying not to look in mother's direction. Father, I wish to see Stefan. If I find your conduct in the Baroness's presence satisfactory enough, then you may see him. She's coming for a visit tomorrow. Be prepared. Father wipes his mouth and with his napkin throws it onto the plates and leaves. Mother lips move silently. Nobody says a word. Then father stands up and orders the other children to back to your rooms. He needs to speak to mother in private. Father comes to your room before bedtime. He sits on the edge of the bed in just a crease on the woolen blanket. He distances himself from you after Stefan's departure, so you are not used to such attention from him. In the candlelight, you can see his face in the dark, then a sour expression on it. My son, Baroness Emma L. Loder will be visiting us tomorrow. Please be polite and treat her with respect. Nathan will do as you do. I want this dinner to be as immaculate as possible. Don't let me down. On the next day, mother starts dressing you and Nathan for the coming dinner. You see red all around her eyes. She has been crying and for a long time it hurts just to look at her. Nathan starts whining quietly. You and Nathan are dressed in new doublets. Doublets or dowlets? And your tousled head brushes into shape. Gloria is told to stay in the room. Father appears wearing his best suit. Mother is in a humble brown dress looking pale. Grandfather has an uncharacteristically contented look about himself. You heard the sounds of wheels and hooves, again the cobble in the yard, and then a pair of dainty heels come clacking. The antechamber is completely quiet and still. Faring grandfather's observant eye, the door opens. You see your guest, a beautiful dark-haired woman in a dress of elegant deep blue. Looks like a hoe to me. Father takes the hand of Lady Eloda and kisses it, showering her with compliments. Grandfather's face is beaming in her presence. No one even bothers to introduce mother. Baroness, allow me to introduce you Robert's son, Siegfried, and Nathan Brante. Frankly, it's his eldest Stefan who deserves the most attention, but currently he is studying in Eterna with the other young noblemen like himself. It is my hope that his younger sons will also make me proud one day. Grandfather eyes you with a probing look. How will you act in front of the Baroness? Will you accept her next to your mother and your father's rightful wife? I guess we're just gonna maintain our composure. But I mean, that is my mother. Fuck it. You follow father's example and kiss the Baroness's fingers gently. Her laughter fills the antechamber, ringing like chimes. Behind your back you can hear mother sobbing. Grandfather nods to you in approval. Out of the corner of your eye, you see your mother quietly walking upstairs. No, this is wrong. It cannot be. What? Did I not fucking maintain my composure? No, I said introduce my mother, didn't I? You follow father. Okay. You walk up to father, look him in the eye, and ask him in a voice loud enough to be heard by everyone. Why didn't he introduce mother to the guest? She is his legal wife, and your mother, is she not? You walk up to your father, look him in the eye, and ask him in a voice loud enough to be heard by everyone. Why didn't he introduce mother to the guest? She is his legal wife, and your mother, is she not? There's silence. Mother stops on the stairs and turns her head in surprise. Father is confused. Nathan starts whining again. Grandfather is grinding his teeth. His hands tightly grip the heavy walking stick. You keep father's transfixed. You keep father's transfixed by your gaze. After a few moments, you feel like an eternity. He winks at you, almost imperceptibly. What? Imperceptibly. I don't think I've heard that word before. Then adjusts his dialect and turns to your noble guest. Baroness, allow me to introduce Lydia Brante, my wife, and my mother to my younger children. Lydia, would you be so kind to join us for dinner? What are you saying, Robert? Father, it would be a disgrace to hold a family dinner without the lady of the house. Father marches up the stairs and offers his hand to mother. She accepts it and walks down with a shy smile on her face for the first time in those many days. The Baroness presses her lips in contempt at the sight. After a long pause, grandfather finally breaks the uneasy silence and leads everyone to dine. Mother sits at the furthest corner of the table, claiming that she needs to watch over Nathan. There's barely any small talk over dinner apart from the Baroness and the grandfather discussing her widowhood and her inheritance litigation. Father and mother do not say a word throughout the meal, yet they no longer look as tense as the day before. There's not even a mention of any potential marriage. As soon as the door closes behind them, the Baroness, you flee to your bedroom and lock the door. Grandfather's heavy footsteps can already be heard in the hallway. He's the force of anger, eager to get his hands on you. Well, you had the nerve to interfere with that. Adolf's affair. You ruined Mother's dinner with the Baroness. Open the door and face the punishment you deserve. Then suddenly his voice dies down. You hear Father speaking quietly. We both realize there can be no other marriage, Father. I already have a wife and there's nothing to be done about it. I'm sorry, Father, but you have to accept it. Please leave my son alone. He only helped me face the truth and nothing else. Grandfather huffs and puffs at a loss for words. You heard the head of Brante family and his adult son retreat from the door of your room. It seems there will be no punishment today after all. Grandfather leaves for Eterna alone. About a fortnight later, Father receives a letter from Stefan. It seems his grandfather told him about the incident with the Baroness, and so the letter is full of ire. Full of ire? He writes that you have you reminded high society about Father's marriage to a low-born woman, and now the family's reputation is at stake. Father winces when he reads Stefan's letter deep in thought, but Mother is smiling again because of Father's actions, her joy a quiet, happy glow. To be honest, making your mother happy is more important than most things. Distaste. Father winces when he reads Stefan's letter deep in thought, but Mother is smiling again because of Father's actions. Her joy is a quiet, happy glow. We got -1 on reputation, we got +1 in unity, which is 8, which is good, peace, 7 to 9 peace, 10, we're about to hit harmony. Seven years of age now. The kaleidoscope. Father now checks on your studies often and nitpicks you for saying or eating or speaking in an incorrect fashion. Once he becomes so annoyed, he says that he wishes Stefan had been the one to stay in the home instead of you. Wow. You never expected to hear these words from your father, of all people. Grandfather's trip to the capital took longer than expected. It feels lighter around the house without his presence. You allow yourself a little change of scenery. Instead of your room, you now busy yourself with reading and calculations in the sitting room across from the open door to the yard. Excuse me everyone, just having some of the Dr. Pepper. Gloria has joined you today. She has already helped you progress through several complex passages in the book. Right now she seems preoccupied with this strange tube. Aren't you hurt by the way Grandfather treats you, you ask? Gloria just shrugs. Grandfather always says they should get rid of me. I'm used to it now. He hurts you a lot worse because you're closer to him. I just have to stay out of his way, that's it. She shows you the strange tube she has been holding all day. Look, it's a kaleidoscope. I got it as a gift. Want to see inside? Excited by the idea, you close the book and peer into the tiny hole in one end of the tube. You see a multitude of intricate patterns. Each turn of the tube reveals a new web of interwoven colors. They mesmerize you. The kaleidoscope turns the fire burning in the fireplace into a cavalry made of flames. You are riding at the front of the fiery horseman, ready to face the enemy. Grandfather's face emerges from the intersecting lines and you swing the kaleidoscope like a sword, cutting it in half. Now you look at the blue sky through the window. The patterns are unending, secretive, calm and peaceful. Just like Father's smile before Grandfather's invasion. The deep blue gives way to a scattering of a gold radiating gentle warmth like Mother's arms. This fleeting beauty too soon gives you a hypnotic new pattern. Again and again you see your family in these interconnecting figures as they come together and break apart. And in the middle of this golden glow you can see Gloria's green eyes gazing at you observantly. Your sister left you long ago. The books are abandoned and time slips away unchecked, but you are still busy peering into the kaleidoscope. Order emerges from the chaos before your eyes again and again, but you cannot preserve it no matter how you try. You are caught in an inner conflict. There's so much that can be done with this kaleidoscope. Should you take it apart or ask Gloria how it works? Keep enjoying the patterns it shows you, but you still have lessons to do today. Fuck the kaleidoscope, man. Return to your studies and shit, man. I've got shit to do. You put the kaleidoscope away and return to studying the book. There's so much you have to discuss with Gloria, you cannot help but wonder what things did she see there. But first, your lessons. When Father walks in, he sees you hard at work over the book. He chuckles in approval, then spots the kaleidoscope on the table next to you. He puts the toy to his eye, then freezes still for a moment. It takes him ever to put it back down. Then he praises you for being so diligent and leaves. When today's section of the book is finished, you take the toy upstairs to your sister's room and tell her what you saw in it. Gloria smiles, knowing what you felt. I once saw a ballroom full of dancers. I watched it for an entire hour. My hands even got sore. You spend a long time with your older sister discussing the kaleidoscopic figures, and you feel a strong connection to her. The toy has brought you closer together and made you interconnected, just like the lines and figures in its colourful eye. +1 determination, we are still spineless. we want to be 2 and 3, which is active, resolute and adamant. Wow. Willpower is exhausted. Shit, I want to be ready for anything. Sweet temptation. Grandfather's visits are no longer a cause of concern, a cause for fear and panic in the house. He has become something you are used to, something nagging, yet not unordinary. Like a splinter or a stain on your trousers, the tension still remains, however. Sir Gregor's disdain for everyone in the house is so palpable it almost stings for real. Your lessons with the tutor are done for today. You are walking down the stairs when you spot Gloria peeping into the sitting room through a slightly open door. You sneak up on your sister and tap her lightly on the shoulder. She is startled. Oh, it's you. Siegfried, look, Sir Greg's eating something. Grandfather is sitting on the sofa, flipping through a book with one hand and reaching for a glass bowl with another now and then. Inside the bowl you see the candied fruit, a sweet confectionery forbidden to the common estate like all sweet things. Yet grandfather's face shows no pleasure as he keeps consuming the high-born treats. The clock strikes 3. Grandfather rises from the seat, puts away the bowl on the shelf and leaves for the yard. He always takes a walk in the city at this time. Gloria nudges you with her elbow and looks at the candy bowl. When you look at her, the first emotion you feel is fear, but next comes curiosity, and it is stronger. Stefan used to boast that candied fruit tastes incredible, and now you have the perfect opportunity to try it. Damn right we will. You try candied fruit first. The sugar starts to melt as soon as you put it on your tongue. It's so sweet. You have never eaten anything as good as this. You take the whole bowl off the shelf and give it to your sister. She takes a fruit and brings it to her mouth carefully, like a rare treasure. There is thumping on the stairs, footsteps accompanied by the knocking of a waving stick. You have no idea why, but grandfather is back. You quickly hide behind the sofa and pull Gloria after you, but she is frozen in place with the ball in her hands. The door opens, grandfather's menacing figure advances on Gloria. His hand seizes her arm. You squalid, ungrateful, low-born child, how dare you bite the hand that feeds you? You and your trollop of a mother would be sleeping in a ditch if I weren't for my spineless son. The sweet and pleasant things in life are for the noble estate, not for the likes of you. Did you forget your lot? His hand swings and hits Gloria on the cheek. She falls to the floor right next to where you are hidden. Her fingers glisten with the warm melted sugar that brought you here. Grandfather advances again, his walking stick ready, but then he sees you huddling behind the armchair. Please don't hurt him, Sir Brante. This is all my fault. He tried to stop me. You can already see a bruise on Gloria's cheek. This is only the beginning of her punishment. Gloria was caught red-handed, unlike you. You can still avoid punishment. What is it then, milksop? Did you try the sugar too, or were you trying to stop this piece of filth like she says? You stand up and start talking. Yes, Gloria was telling the truth. You were trying to stop her. Grandfather tilts his head and keeps his gaze transfixed by his inhospitable. Grandfather tilts his head as he keeps you transfixed by his hospitably bitter gaze. Then why did you hide behind the armchair like a petty thief? It was all Gloria, you tell him. She told you to hide. Gloria looks at you with pain and disappointment when you say this. Grandfather nods, satisfied by the answer. He tells you to stay and watch him punish Gloria. For the first time in life, you see someone else being punished. Her skin is split apart by grandfather's walking stick. Her clothes getting soaked in blood as she writhes with enemy, as she writhes in agony. Night comes, but Gloria's sobbing keeps you awake. You go to her bedroom and try to calm her down, but a muffled "go away" is her only reaction. She left grandfather for you, so why is she angry with you now? Mother takes Gloria to the church next morning. They return late in the afternoon, and Gloria begs father on her knees for forgiveness. She will never ever take what she does not deserve by birth, she pleads. She does not look at you, not even once. Father and mother have been focused on Nathan and you since early morning. Instead of breakfast, you are told to say your prayers, wash your hands and faces, get dressed in plain white shirts. Today is the day of your sacrament. Mother, I want to go play in the yard. No playing today. You and Siegfried are big boys now. It is time for you both to have your first sacrament. No one can live without a lot. I don't want a lot. Be quiet and listen. You are born commoners, so you must accept a low-born lot before the twins. When you grow up, you'll get a chance to earn a noble lot. Father and mother take you to the garage. Nathan is hungry, he starts whining. Grandfather is lost to get you in the carriage. His eyes are on you and your brother, looking for every fault. Soon on the carriage is moving along the streets of Anizot. How are you meant to say this? Anizote? Slowly and solemnly. Excuse me. One more turn and you see the colossal white building marked by the two massive pillars. For the first time in your life, you are to enter the Church of the Twins. You enter the gate and walk under the splendorous dome of the church. The church hall is divided into two halves. They are drastically different from one another. The floors on one side are rough and jagged and covered in dried brown spots, while the floor on the other is made of smooth marble. The commoners kneel on the jagged floor, and the well-dressed nobles on the family sit on the pews. The father and grandfather leave you to sit on one of the noble pews. Mother walks to the rough stones on the commoner's side and gets down on her knees. You see her wince in pain, for the low-born estates shall suffer the house of faith. The church acolytes surround you and lead you to the altar where you and your brothers will take part in sacrament this day. Before you stands a tall priest dressed in black with a sword in one hand and a hefty whip in the other. Nathan's whining grows louder. He dislikes this place. He is scared. You remain quiet, but your stomach roils in uneasy anticipation. The first child to take the sacrament is a jaunty little boy from the family of nobles. The priest extends the sword before him and recites the words from his lot. From this day forth he will fight and rule and pursue the arts, his mind now forever free from the throes of suffering, for now he belongs to the noble lot. The boy proudly touches the flat of the blade with his lips. Nathan is next to receive the sacrament. He suddenly snaps out of his fearful trance and tries to break free, but the acolyte pulls him towards the altar and throws him on the jagged floor on the low-born side. The sharp edges bite into Nathan's knees as he stands spraying drops of red around him. I don't want to, Siegfried. Why do they want to whip me? What did I do? You try to break free and run to protect Nathan's side. You try to break free and run to Nathan's side. You want to give him the courage to protect him, but the acolyte's grip on you is too firm. You feel utterly helpless. Your brother has to face the world all by himself. The priest starts reciting, why is he getting the sacrament before me? Am I not older? The priest starts reciting the words of the lot as he swings the lash over to Nathan's shoulders. From this day forth, Nathan, thou shalt endure and work and suffer. Thou shalt be ardent in thy labour and humble in obedience to thy rulers. And now cometh thy first true suffering, which thou must accept with gratitude. The lash cracks, strikes his right shoulder, it strikes his left shoulder. The blows are so powerful that Nathan falls to the floor. The priest tells him to rise. He has received his lot. Nathan gets to his feet and drags himself towards mother, his knees torn, bloodied, his spirit broken. It's your turn. Your feet will not move. You can barely muster enough strength to walk to the altar. You get down on your knees and feel the sharp stones below. So sharp your clothing cannot protect you. Your skin begins to burn. The acolyte forces your head down and you feel the lash being drawn above you, ready to strike. The priest's words are for you now. This is thy sacrament. Thou shalt work and endure and suffer. Thou art thou art about to receive receive that first true suffering by the sacred lash, dost thou accept, thou Lord? That would be so epic. Catch the lash, kiss the sword, you defy the oh my days, accept it. Do I want to be some guy who suffers? Do I want to catch the latch before it strikes my shoulders? Or do I want to kiss the sword? You see, I'm tempted to accept it because my little brother accepted it. Kiss the sword is something a nobleman does. It's going to improve my relations, it's going to lower my willpower, my perception, but give me determination. Or catch the lash. Get one determination and lose a perception. I'll catch the lash. The lash strikes, but your hand flies up and intercepts it before it can reach your shoulder. The leather whip leaves a deep cut in the palm of your hand. Blood starts dripping down on your arm, soaking your humble shirt with red. The furious priest yanks the lash out of your hand. The acolyte grabs you by the arms again. You will not be given a second chance to interrupt the sacrament. The lash cracks, it hits you in your right shoulder. You grit your teeth. Your back barely hurts you at all. The real pain comes from the cut on your hand. The lash strikes again, this time your left shoulder. I was tempted to kiss the sword now. You rise and walk away from the altar swaying. You see things with a surprising clarity right now. A timid hand touches yours. It's Nathan, his tearful face with a mixture of confusion and awe. Mother takes your hand and leads you out to the church. Once you're outside, she scolds you for being insubordinate. Grandfather is the last to leave you in the church. His face is covered in red, angry blotches. There's a quiet fury in his voice, and he says something to Father, who remains quiet and miserable as you walk to the carriage. You defied a powerful will that day. There's fear inside of you, fear that this will might one day destroy you. We're active now. We're active, gang. The mark left on you by the sacrament takes a long time to heal. Mother says it's a reminder for your lot, suffering and sufferance, pain and patience. Gloria shows you the mark of the lash on her shoulder one day. It will never disappear. The lash strikes, but your hand flies up and intercepts it before it can reach your shoulder. The leather whip leaves a deep cut on the palm of your hand. Blood starts dripping down your arm, soaking your humble shirt with red. The furious priest yanks the lash out of your hand. The acolytes grab you by the arms again. You will not be given a second chance to interrupt the sacrament. The lash cracks, it hits you on the right shoulder. You grit your teeth, your back barely hurts at all. Real pain comes from the cut on your hand. The lash strikes out again, this time on your left. You rise and walk away from the altar, swaying. You see things with surprising clarity right now. A timid hand touches you. It is Nathan, his tearful face a mixture of confusion and awe. Mother takes your hand and leads you out of the church. Once you're outside, she scolds you for being insubordinate. Grandfather is the last to leave his church. His face is covered in red, angry blotches. This quiet fury in his voice says something to father, who remains quiet and miserable as you walk to the carriage. You defied a powerful will that day. There's fear inside of you. Your fear that might one day destroy you. Yeah, 1125. You have taken your first sacrament. Receives the commonest lot. The mark left on you by the sacrament takes a long time to heal. Takes a long time to heal. Mother says it's a reminder of your lot, suffering and sufferance, pain and patience. Gloria shows you the mark lash on her shoulder one day. It will never disappear. You are a commoner now. This is the lot you were born into, but Father keeps telling you to study hard, so you may earn a different lot and become noble of the mantle. You recall the past with warm sadness when Stefan still lived with you, or when he wrote to you from time to time shortly after you left. Now he thinks it beneath him to write to commoners in his family. Mother didn't lock herself in a bedroom as often back then. This changed shortly before Nathan was born. Excuse me. But the most important, you missed the time before the terrifying figure of your grandfather was constantly looming over you. You learned the true power of the lot only after the head of family's arrival. In grandfather's eyes, no commoner deserves to be treated with kindness. Is this just him, or is it the way of the entire world? The very thought makes you queasy. You are older now, and once more you are an elder brother now. You've learned how to care about someone else, how to teach and protect. Soon you are a small boy no longer. As the days pass, play gradually gives way to laborious study, and now your choices will decide your place in the bizarre, ruthless world of your adulthood. Your childhood years are over. Soon you are a small boy no longer. Okay, we've read this. Important life chapters. Okay, next. Personalities accomplished, active. We're active, fam. And we're inquisitive. Chapter 2. Adolescent.